A pleasant afternoon to one and all. For today's discussion, we will tackle about Asian regionalism. I am Yaja and my other co-member Jam. We are Group 6 and your reporters for today. Our first topic will be regionalization versus globalization. Let us define first what is regionalization. So it is a concentration of economic flow within region, thereby binding the region's economy. It is also a process of dividing areas into smaller segments called regions. So basically, it is a group of countries located in the same geographically specified area. So it also increased in the cross-border flow of capital, goods, and people within a specific geographical area. Then next, globalization. According to Jacoby in 2010, it is an increased flow of goods, services, capital, people, and information across borders. So it is stated in the book that defining this globalization is a controversial risk. So if we look at it to a wider perspective or another angle, it can be seen as a new form of colonization, as economic inequality and there is a rise in unemployment. Also, there are exploitation of labor and the safety standards are ignored to produce cheap goods. So, moving forward. So, for additional information, according to Mansfield in 1999, most basic sense of region is a group of countries in the same geographic location. So, as what I have mentioned earlier na ang regionalization is a group of countries na naara sa same geographic na location. So, according to Harold in 2007, countries in this region decided to integrate and interact socially and economically, leading to regionalization. So, through this regional integration, it allows countries to overcome costly divisions like poor infrastructures, inefficient policies, and the likes. So, through sa regional integration, maka-integrate na sila of goods, services, and factors markets. And then next, so the differences between regionalization and globalization. The two are obviously different. So we have here the regionalization. It may not allow corporations outside its region to trade and more likely create monopolies within the region. When we say monopolies, from the word mono, it means single or one. So, monopoly is a market structure in which there is only one seller in a single product or one supplier. So, kanya siya, walay lain ka-competensya because it has only one supplier lang. And kanipod, walay other substitution. So, advantage din siya, supplier, because you'll gain more profit. And monopolist, muna ang tawag sa nagayo sa monopoly. They can charge high prices. Ang naka-disadvantage lang ani is high price ra kay siya. So, mahal ra kay siya para sa mga consumers. And then, malimitahan pod ang choices sa consumers. So, wala sila'y lain choice kundi because kana ilang paliton because wala may lain substitution dara nga nagasell gihapon ana nga product kay kato gani gaina na mention na ang monopoly kay single supplier. So let's proceed to globalization. It promotes economic integrations across state borders around the world, allowing many countries to trade internationally. So, ang globalization is open internationally. So, daghan jud countries na mag free trade. Na gina-allow na mag-trade kay 'di ba na ay nature ang globalization na liberalization and free trade. Which na ang meaning ana is the free flow of goods and services. So the similarities between regionalization and globalization. Both are social drivers that can either unite or divide people. So ang kaning unite, this implies the globalization because a lot of countries man mag-trade, mag-collab, and ganon. And divide people, kaning sa regionalization, kay marami siya kanang division ay parang subunit na nagan. Like lang siya, limited ang ilahang trading. And for the next topic, integration of Asian region will be discussed by Jam.
Hi guys, I'm Jamil to Israel, and this is my subtopic about our topic in Asian regionalism. So, integration of Asian region, it means that the trend in regional economic integration in Asia. So, ang economical communication or relationship between each country in Asia. According to Kang 2009, it took time for Asia to integrate economically due to first, unbalanced economic growth, second, diverse culture, religions, and customs among people, third, issues and problems of security. The unbalanced economic growth is that like para sa ato, we are just a developing country pa, and others like countries like Russia or China mas galabaw gid sila sa ato, so that's why naagay conflict between countries. Secondly, the diverse culture, religions, and customs among people. Tungod sa ato ang pagkalailahi kay lagi ang Asia daghan siya og cultures, daghan og religions. Third, the issues and problems of society. Like parehas sa ISIS, parehas sa mga rebelde nga conflict sa mga countries, munang kawala ang or slow ang integration among countries in Asia. Currently today, Asian countries are driven to combine their resources for economic growth and integration. So, karong panahon na mostly sa mga countries karon ga-combine and gahimo og organizations so that they can boost their economical growth. So these are some organizations Asian countries founded for economical integration. So I have two examples here. the ASEAN, and the APEC. So the ASEAN, it is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It has a member of 10 nations: the Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Indonesia, Laos, Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, and Brunei. It was established on August 8, 1967 in Bangkok, Thailand. The aims and purposes of ASEAN is to accelerate the economic growth, promote on matters of socio-cultural interest, and maintain regional peace and prosperity. Like I said earlier, countries right now are combining their resources so that they can accelerate their economical growth and maintain peace and prosperity. In Austria's Article 2009, there are three factors that drive economic integration of Asia, or ASEAN. First, the market-led process through the international production sharing of MNCs. The unilateral and multilateral reduction of barriers to trade and invest. The sub-regional economic zones, or SREZs. So these three are what drives the economic integration of ASEAN countries. The market-led process through the international production sharing of MNCs. You know, MNCs are multinational corporations, right? So they are sharing their productions internationally in these ASEAN nations. The unilateral and multilateral reduction of barriers to trade and invest. So, there is a second one, mas ginapadali or mas ginagive og access to these ASEAN nations para pag-trade and invest para mas dali ang process. So, the sub-regional economic zones is that FTA or ASEAN Free Trade Act created an environment for MNCs to freely choose their cross-border bases and conduct their economical activities, thereby allowing the exploitation of factor price within the region. Private-led process. It is the sub-regional economic zones aim to enhance the attractiveness of investment in the continuous areas by combining their advantages and exploit economic complementaries. According to DTI Assistant Secretary Cipriano Rodolfo, Asia is the most dynamic and fastest growing region in the world. And in Asia, the most dynamic is Southeast Asia. And in Southeast Asia, the fastest growing sub-region is the Philippines. So the Philippines right now have current trade agreements with ASEAN or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, WTO, the World Trade Organization, and APEC, the Asia Pacific Economic Corporation.
Now, we will tackle about the challenges on regionalization and globalization in Asia. So these are the challenges, namely trade, financial flow, and regional policy coordination. So let's go first to trade. Other countries should open their economies. So the openness of Asian economy encourage competitiveness to enjoy the benefit of trade liberalization. While katong naka-benefit na, dapat i-ensure and extend nila ang openness sa mga bago na frontiers. Increase transparency and free flow of information in which service and financial sectors depend. we all know na money is involved in business and trade, right? So, so transparency is really important because that builds trust among the involved people or group, and trust is the greatest foundation of great teamwork. And there is a need to develop effective policies for non-competitive countries. As mentioned earlier na Asian economy encourage competitiveness. Kay para ang katong mga non-competitive na countries, dili ra pud kaayo sila mabihay and luoy. And also para maka-compete sila globally. So for the next slide, we still have trade. So there is also a need to improve infrastructures such as transportation, telecommunication, and power supply. Of course, they need transportation, a smooth transportation, in order to transport the goods, right? And then, communication is really important also in business. Okay, what if there is a conflict or problem na ma-encounter? So, through communication, it might be ma-solve dayon siya agad. And communication right now is very accessible as we have technology, right? So, yeah, they need power supply para sa ilahang machineries, para mogana ang mga machines, which ang machines naga-help o produce sa mga goods or products. So, public finances should be strengthened by reducing outlays in less productive area. This means na mas better na ilaan ang public finances sa much more productive na area kaysa less productive para dili ra siya masayang and very efficient pod. So last, we have the regional trade initiative should be compatible with the global trade liberalization. Kailangan na right pod ang regional trade initiative sa global trade liberalization. So kailangan pa din na may free flow of goods and services na kahit sa lang siya regional. And able po siya na makakompete globally. So, we will go now to financial flow. Stable macroeconomic policies will give confidence to financial markets and attract private savings in domestic level and regional cooperation. So, macroeconomic policy is concerned with the operation of the economy as whole. So, ang iyahang goal sa macroeconomic policy is mag-provide of stable economic environment in which na dira maka-sustainable economic growth, create of jobs, wealth, and improve living standards. So this macroeconomic policy has tools, major tools. These are the fiscal policy, which is the taxation and spending of the government. So next is may monetary policy din tayo. Central bank control of the money supply. So na-control ang paggawas sa money. So kanya sila ng mga tools ay ginagamit para ma-achieve nila ang equilibrium, macroeconomic equilibrium. And then, transparent and predictable regulatory policies, and reliable legal framework. So, kanya sila is very essential para makakreate sila og favorable investments. Kay if na kay transparent, kay if very transparent ka, like I said kaina, is build of trust. So, could gain investments. And this framework act, acts as a supporting system or guide na makakreate of something. Next are the regulation and supervision of Asia countries should keep pace with the complexities of banking business. Policies should be enacted that will strengthen banking systems. So, there's banks, dihaga agi ang money, right? And of course, money na ang giistoryahan. So, it's very important sa kaning trading. And dapat sa financial flow, kay naa sila'y mas powerful na policy para sa ilang banking systems and safety pod sa money and other transaction na kinabuhat sa business. The last is the regional policy coordination. So, according to Secretary General of Association of Southeast Asian Nations, Rodolfo C. Severino, at the symposium talk entitled AFTA and Beyond on May 30 and 2002, regional integration is the only way to generate sufficient economic activity, improve efficiency, heighten competition, attract investments, and thus create jobs. So, kaning regional integration kay maka-gain economically. So, this allows na ma-improve ang market efficiency, maka-share sa cost of public goods or large nga mga projects like sa mga infrastructures. They could decide policy cooperatively and they could reform it lang din. So, it could also open great opportunity like employment. Na-mention there nga maka-create of jobs. So, we have the last slide for this topic. Massive agriculture subsidies in the European Union, Japan, and United States. Agricultural protection in the guise of quarantine regulations. Abuse of anti-dumping. Imposition of prohibitive costs and litigation to developing countries. So, kanya sila is muna sila ang mga policies na nag-strengthen sa value of protectionism among Asian countries. So, ang ASEAN kay walay choice na wala sila'y choice but to create a strong bond para efficient ilang work, ilang teamwork. There is a harsh na competitive world. So the other topic will be discussed by Jam again.
Another subtopic of the Asian regionalism is the challenges ASEAN and COVID-19. So the COVID-19 pandemic affected the whole world. But even though we are in the pandemic, countries from ASEAN had been widely discussing about what to come up with a solution. The pandemic had greatly affected the economic integration of ASEAN countries. Because of the lockdowns and restrictions, countries have closed their borders, causing it to delay and stop economical integration. So, there were shortcomings in the response of the ASEAN against the pandemic. Firstly, the coordinated regional response was difficult because of the different levels of infections, specific national responses, and political will. Secondly, the pandemic itself results in vastly fundamental tensions. In the first one, naglisod gyud ang ASEAN organization because of the different levels of infections or unsa kadaghanan sa infections in each countries and the specific national responses or the responses of the nations towards the ASEAN organization and the political will. Secondly, the pandemic itself results in vastly fundamental tensions. Secondly, the pandemic itself results in vastly fundamental tensions. So, ang pandemic had greatly affected the fundamental tensions in countries. Because of the pandemic, the economical impact of it was likely to be long term. The Asian Development Bank assessed that economic losses in Asia and the Pacific to range between $1.7 million to $2.5 trillion. So, dako gid kay nawala because of the pandemic, with the region accounting for about 30% of the overall decline in global output. So dako gid kayo og decline sa economical growth ang pandemic. Tungod sa pandemic, the crisis henceforth calls for economic collaboration among countries within the region to stimulate economic growth. Tungod sa pandemic, the countries are in collaboration right now so that they can stimulate and regrow the economic growth. So that it's all, folks. I hope you understand our lesson very well, and thank you for listening. Bye.